How do artists choose what techniques and materials to use? Medium refers to both the technique used to create an artwork and also the material it is made from. The medium of painting refers to the application of pigment on a surface. It also refers to the materials the artist chooses. A painting can be oil on canvas, ink on paper, or acrylic on canvas. Artists choose materials for their unique qualities. For example, the fast-drying nature of watercolor allows artists to capture scenes quickly. This makes it a medium suited for plein air or outdoor painting. It is also particularly helpful where weather conditions can be unpredictable. The water-based medium gives artists the flexibility to modulate translucency as they paint. This allows for the capturing of the subtle, shifting qualities of light. Artists are constantly pushing the boundaries of medium beyond the more conventional forms like painting. They sometimes work with materials from everyday life. To emphasize the impermanent nature of things, artists use materials that are perishable or incorporate their bodies in performance. They might include elements like light and sound that engage the senses. Artists also adapt from craft techniques. Let's take a deeper look at medium in this work by Nguyen Van Ty. The panoramic view of Cho Bo on the Da River in northwestern Vietnam is rendered in lacquer. Boats and figures can be seen in the foreground. Choppy waters occupy the midground and lead our eye upwards towards the mountains that loom in the background. Lacquer has a long history in Southeast Asia. It is a clear, hard coating applied to materials like wood or metal. It lends durability and shine to functional and decorative objects like boxes and screens. By the 1930s in Vietnam, lacquer also evolved into a medium for painting. While painting with acrylic or oil offers artists greater flexibility, lacquer is an unpredictable and highly sensitive medium. It is a technically complicated process. First, lacquer resin is poured onto a wooden baseboard. This has to be set carefully to achieve a flat surface. To achieve the desired tones and detail in the composition, different colored lacquer and inlays are applied. The layers are repeatedly set, dried, then sanded down to a smooth finish. The color of lacquer is tinted brown by allowing oxidization, black through a chemical reaction with iron, and red by adding natural pigments. Details are built by adding inlays. For example, crushed eggshells can be introduced to create white details, snail shells for brown, and mother of pearl for iridescence. In this work, Nguyen Van Ty worked with a range of dark tones to create dramatic shadows and mountainous forms. He created the swirling waves by meticulously applying gold powder. Gold leaf was added on top in certain sections for an atmospheric effect. This can be observed, for example, in the luminous sky. Panorama de Cho Bo vividly expresses the grandeur of the Vietnamese landscape. Nguyen Van Ty studied at École des Beaux-Arts de l'Indochine between 1934 and 1941. The school in Hanoi was set up under French colonial rule in 1925. It based its curriculum on French art academies and taught drawing, painting, and sculpture. Students were encouraged to extend their artistic education into mediums such as lacquer and silk. The aim was to develop localized forms of expression. This painting, Sarong Making Shop by Chua Thean Teng, is made in the medium of batik. Batik refers to both the technique of patterning fabric using wax and dye, as well as the patterned cloth itself that results from this process. In Southeast Asia, batik is used to produce everyday garments, as well as ceremonial or ritual objects. Batik motifs often feature the region's ecology and cosmology. patterns are created using a wax-resist dyeing technique. Hot wax is applied onto cloth using a spouted tool called a chanting. Areas where the wax has been applied resists the penetration of dye. The waxing and dyeing process is repeated until a variety of colors have been achieved. Wax is then removed by boiling the cloth. In the mid-1950s, batik also developed into a medium for painting, an innovation credited to Chuah. Sarong making shop presents us with multiple panels, meant to be viewed as a whole. Each shows workers engaged in various stages of batik making. The painting merges medium and subject matter. It illustrates the laborious process of making batik and clearly demonstrates Chuah's own mastery of the medium. Chua Thean Teng is widely considered a pioneer of batik painting. He migrated to Malaya from China in 1932 and settled in Penang. There he practiced art while employed in various jobs. Following World War II, Chuah opened a batik factory. The factory eventually closed down, but Chuah was inspired to start making art from leftover batik materials. He continued to paint in batik over the next 2 decades and remains renowned for his figures and scenes from everyday Malaysian life. Artists are constantly experimenting with the possibilities of medium in their works. Not only does this allow them to effectively communicate their ideas, it also enables them to challenge the conventions of art and making.